I woke up in my bed. It was dark. I turned on the bedside lamp to find that the power was out. Groaning, I got out of bed, went over to the window, and pulled back the curtains. I couldn't see any streetlights, so I walked over to the front door, opened it, and stepped outside. The power was out throughout the entire city. Cars were parked haphazardly on the streets. There wasn't a soul to be seen. At first, I assumed that there had just been a massive blackout or something. But as I walked through the empty streets, I started to get a really bad feeling about everything. I stopped by a convenience store to get some water. I knew that they had bottled water in the back, but when I pushed open the door, it made a horrible screeching sound. The glass must have been broken during the night. As I stepped inside, I realized that all of their water bottles had been smashed. I looked around for somewhere else to go, but every shop, every house, every window I passed was completely destroyed. And still, there wasn't a single person anywhere. It was then that I noticed a small red light blinking from the top of a nearby building. I figured that surely someone else had noticed this too. Surely I wasn't the only one who had woken up to this nightmarish reality. Hope surged through me as I ran towards the light, hoping that it meant the presence of other people. But as I got closer, I saw that it was coming from a billboard. The advertisement on it had changed to an ominous black rectangle with the caption, "We are watching." Below it, there were 3 smaller, blinking red lights, each looking like eyes staring directly at me. I turned off the street lamp I had been standing next to, so that the billboard's light would be less harsh. And that's when I noticed something strange. Each of the 3 red lights blinked at a different pace. It took me a moment to realize what it was that I was looking at. These weren't normal eyes. They were the eyes of a clock. I had always thought that clocks were an outdated piece of technology, something that old people used to tell the time instead of checking your phone. But obviously they were still being manufactured, because here was a clock literally watching me. And then I realized how stupid that was. Of course, there were clocks still being made. If everyone was gone, who was going to make sure that the few remaining functioning street lamps kept working? Who was going to tend to the crops, keep the water clean, and the food stocked in the stores? Who was going to do any of the things that society relied on to keep functioning? I don't know if I've always been this stupid, or if it is a side effect of whatever is happening to me. Probably the latter. Anyway, I continued walking down the street, now illuminated by the billboard clock's menacing glow. I came across a car that had crashed into a fire hydrant. I'm pretty sure that whoever was driving it panicked and smashed into it when they realized what was happening. Maybe he had woken up in the middle of the night and seen the world around him change. Maybe he had tried to call 911 or something, but instead found himself face to face with a terrifying new reality. I didn't stop to dwell on it. I got in the car and turned the key in the ignition. The battery was dead. I knew that if I wanted to get anywhere, I needed to keep moving, so I got out of the car and continued walking. It wasn't long before I came across another car, this one a little more luxurious than the last. And to my surprise, it started on the first try. I wasted no time getting on the freeway and driving out of the city. After a while, the city lights gave way to open road, and open road gave way to dense forest. I had no idea where I was going, but after a while, I came across a gas station. To my great relief, it was open, and there was a man sitting behind the counter. When I walked in, he looked up at me and smiled. "Morning," he said. "It looked like you could use some coffee." He gestured to the coffee machine in the corner. "Help yourself." When I turned around to thank him, he was gone. I turned back to the coffee machine, but my eyes weren't deceiving me. The man had vanished into thin air. This wasn't real. None of this was real. I'd somehow fallen into an alternate dimension or something. But then I remembered the billboard clock. Was he watching me even now? I turned around to look at the gas station attendant again, but he was still gone. I shook my head and poured myself a cup of coffee. I was probably just tired and hallucinating. I took a sip of the coffee. I looked up. The gas station attendant was standing right in front of me. "You okay there, buddy?" he asked. "You look a little pale." I stared at him for a moment. "How did you get there?" I finally managed to ask. He blinked. "Where?" "Never mind," I said. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and walked out the door. I got in my car and drove away, leaving the attendant and his creepy gas station behind. I haven't slept in days. Every time I close my eyes, I see the faces of those who have disappeared, the ones that I love and the ones that I hate. And every time I open my eyes, I'm alone. Everyone in my town disappeared overnight. But me, I'm still here. Why am I still here?